go to school or he goes to school? Which one sounds right to you? And if you are confused, don't worry at all. We are going to fix everything in just a few minutes in today's class. Dear students, please note that subject verb agreement and tenses act as the backbone of English language and is one of the most repeated sections in your board exams. And if we notice PYQs, clearly we'll come to know that 2 to 3 questions are usually asked from subject verb agreement and so from tenses as well. So in today's class, we will discuss each and every hack, each and every important point that will definitely make you ace your grammar section like a pro. For this, we have designed a certain set of questions exclusively for you all on our PW application, the link of which is attached in the description box and the comment section. So without wasting any time, tap the link that will redirect you to our PW app, join the batch and start practicing those questions from there. The only platform that fosters learning, excellence and perfection at the same time. Students, now I have a very special update for all of you. Please join the PW Foundation English WhatsApp channel to get access to all important updates and information related to mind maps, pointers and other important material for your board exams. So please hurry and scan the code. Let's discuss the topics that we are going to cover in today's class. We are going to cover subject verb agreement, each and every hack, each and every pointer that will make you a pro in dealing with these questions. Then we would be discussing tenses, we would be discussing MCQs, we would be discussing questions which are in the form of fill in the blanks, spotting the error, and the questions that are as per the latest board trend. Alright, towards the end of the class, we would be discussing all probable types of questions along with the small recapitulation at the end. Alright, now let's get started with this question. As just to check your understanding, you have been presented with a question on screen. Can you just guess which part of the sentence has an error or contains an error, right? Nobody were, this is the first part. Allowed into, this is the second part. This is the third part. This is the fourth part. So my dear lovely students, whenever you would be watching this video in the morning, in the afternoon or evening or at night, please post in the comment section the answer that you chose for this respective question. So which part do you think has an error? During the pandemic, allowed into the containment zones, nobody were. Alright, and let me tell you this thing. Please try on your own before I tell you the answer. Please be very loyal to this one. Alright, so let me tell you one important thing, that the error that I have spotted here is in this part, lies in this particular part. Why? So I'm going to share you a very important hack based on the same. Alright. We have a BOAT rule for this. Please remember, dear students, BOAT rule. This hack will definitely help you fetch at least 1 mark in your board exam, which is extremely important, because one question will definitely be from this particular hack. BOAT, where B stands for body, O stands for one, and T stands for think. Alright, body, one, think. Body, one, think. For example, we have words like, for example, we have words like everybody, everyone, nobody, no one, nothing, so words which have one, body, thing, BOAT rule. Apply the BOAT rule there, and please, whenever you come across any of these words in a sentence, without even giving a second thought, please use singular form of verb. Alright, singular form of verb. For example, everyone understands me. Everyone understands me, right? Nobody goes to the hole. Nobody, everyone, right, goes. These are singular forms of verb. So please be aware that with this particular hack, what rule? One thing, body. So when you come across any sentence that has either body, one or thing, always use singular form of verb there. Alright, so please be aware of this important rule. Very, very important. Nobody goes to the hole, everyone understands me, right? Dear students, I am not going to teach you the definition of subject verb concord here, as you have been learning the same since you were a kid. So we are going to discuss each and every important pointer and hack that will definitely help you ace those questions in your board exams, right? So, but for that you need to understand subject and verb. This is all about the topic, right? A subject is the doer of the action, right? And a verb is the action or state of being. For example, two dogs are playing. So in this, two dogs, subject, are playing is verb. Alright. So please be aware that you know these two terms very clearly. What is a subject and what is a verb? Any action or state of being. Alright. And the doer of the action, be it a name of a person or a thing, right? We call it a subject. So now the very important hack, the pronoun you always takes the plural verb. Be it any sentence, if it contains you, always use plural form of verb. Always use plural form. Be it present tense, use are. Be it past, use were. Alright. Whenever you find this pronoun in any of the sentence that you come across, please use plural forms of verb there, right? For example, you were invited to come, you are asked to clean the room. Now the next hack that we are going to discuss, singular subjects must have singular verbs and plural subject must have plural verbs. For example, the dogs roll, plural verb, a dog rolls in the market. Just like I said in the very beginning, he goes to school. With singular subject, we have used singular verb and they go to school. So with plural subject, we have used plural form of verb. Alright, so please be aware of all these things. Now the next rule, the introductory there and here. If in any sentence, if the introductory word is either here or there, so please use your verb according to the subject that follows it. Right? For example, there is a pen. Now you have to use this particular verb according to the subject that follows the verb. Alright, then you have there are papers. Just because papers, plural, so we have used are. Just because sheets are plural, so we have are. So please be aware of all these things. Till now we have discussed three different hacks. First being what rule? Body, one thing. Second is if you have you in a sentence, always use plural form of verb. If you come across any sentence which has there and here as an introductory words, so please use your verb according to the subject that follows it. Alright, now we have one of the most important rules. If you have any of these words, BSFM, BSF, 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 BSFM, if you come across any sentence that has any of these words, so use your verb according to the subject, according to the number I said. For example, several books are countables. Several books are lying on the table, right? Both of them are my friends. We are already talking about a plural subject, right? We are talking about many. There are many chocolates in the jar, right? So use your verb accordingly. Now, if you have any of these indefinite pronouns, like we have already understood the cases like some books are lying on the table, I have something to offer, right? Most, enough, half. So please understand the mnemonic that we have presented here. If subject is countable, use plural verb. Countable as in if you can count something which is in plural form, so you would be using your verb accordingly. Some of them were present, some of the ice cream is left. Now you must have noticed one thing. Just because them is countable and is in plural form, so we have used plural verb, right? Now some of the ice cream is singular subject only. So we have talked about a part of it. Some of the ice cream. That's why we have used is. Right? So what did I just say? Keeping in mind the subject, whether it is singular or plural, or whether it is countable or uncountable, use your verb accordingly. Now, the next rule, next important hack, when two subjects are joined by either or, neither nor. If you just focus on your previous year question papers, if you focus on SQPs as well, there have been this type of question that have been asked frequently in your board exams based on this particular rule, and there are higher chances that this time also this question can be asked based on the same either or, neither nor, right? Either or, neither nor. So what does that mean? If I say, just take an example, in your exams, right? Sometimes the teacher gives you a choice in your question paper in some questions and asks you either to do first part or the second part. That means you're supposed to attempt only first or second. That means you're supposed to attempt only one question out of those two choices. All right, just like that, please understand whenever you have either or, neither nor, always and always singular verb will be used. Right? Singular verb will always be used because it indicates choice. It indicates choice. And this means none of them. None of those. None of them or those. So always use a singular form of verb. For example, neither the players nor the coach is joining. Right? Why we have used is? Neither the players nor the coach. None of them. Either the organizer or the singers. Now, a very important point that is to be kept in mind as we coming back to this rule. What do you need to focus first of all? As you have been made aware, you have clearly been made aware that if you come across any sentence that has either or, neither nor, you are supposed to use singular forms of verb, right? Singular form of verb. But at the same time, if, just like these questions, if the subject, one subject is singular and the other one is plural, and in this, the one subject is plural and the second subject is singular, how we are going to choose those verbs? How we are going to put the correct verb in place? Let's understand this. You see SS, SV, SV, SS, PS, PV, PS, PS, PV. Now what does this stand for? SS stands for singular subject, right? PS stands for plural subject. SV stands for singular verb, and accordingly. So what do we notice here? How do we put these verbs in proper place? So we have to focus on the subject which is nearest to the verb, which is nearest to the blank that is given. Did you notice one thing? This is the first subject, this is the second subject in the sentence. Use your verb according to the nearest subject. For example, in this particular question, before is, we have coach, which is singular. So that's why we have used is. In this particular example, we have singers, which is plural. So we have used the plural form of verb. For example, either mummy or daddy dash coming with me. It indicates choice, and you can see the subject which is closest to the blank is singular. So that means is coming to the party. Neither Ram nor Shyam. Again, both are singular. So we are supposed to use. Let's discuss the question now. Neither the teachers nor the principal dash present today. So now this question is for homework. Please practice this particular question and let me know in the comment section how many of you could fetch 1 out of 1. Right? Please post in the comment section whenever you watch this video. Try to do this question and let me know the answer as well. Now the next important hack, a singular subject followed by intervening phrases. What is the meaning of phrases? Some words, a group of words that have incomplete meaning. Alright, if I say, lying on the table, right? Alright, now for example, Max accompanied by his sisters. Phrase, dad as well as my brother. What? If you just write this particular phrase in a sentence, would you be able to extract any meaning out of it? No, it will totally have an incomplete meaning. So whenever a subject is followed by an intervening phrase, please remember that you are always supposed to use singular form of verb there. All right, be it with, as well as, addition to, accompanied by, less than, or together with. All right, dear students. For example, the teacher along with the students. Along with the students, the teacher along with the students. It's a phrase. So please focus on this subject only. So as a result of which, what is the correct option that we are going to choose here? Are, were, is, have. Definitely is. Right? So the subject, when it is followed by a phrase, right, with the words like in addition with, in addition to, together with, as well as, no less than, right? So you are supposed to use only singular forms of verb. All right, dear students. So please try to understand, whenever in a sentence two persons or things are referred to in a particular sentence, so please always use plural form of verb, right? But if there is one single idea, always use singular verb. For example, Rima and Seema, these are two individuals, that's why we have used are. But at the same time, in the second sentence, what we have discussed, my teacher and guide is here, because teacher and guide are same. In the third part, as we see, the Gita and the Ramayana, these are two different holy books, right? So in these cases, article is to be used before each noun, right? And you will use plural form of verb. But if they refer to same person, if there are qualities, if they refer to the same idea that refer to the same person, you will use singular form of verb, just like in the last one. Slow and steady wins or win. So this would be wins the race. If we talk about time, if we talk about money, if we talk about distance specifically, for example, if I ask you a question, can you count money? Can you count money? We can never do that, right? Because money is something which is uncountable. You can count currency notes, you can count coins, you can count currency notes, you can count coins, but you can never count money, which is itself a quantity. So if you ask a question to somebody, you say, how much money do you have, right? Or how many coins do you have, you can say, but you can never say how many money do you have, right? It represents quantity. If time we talk about, be it any time, the duration, if we talk about, weight and distance are singular. For example, 2 years. Even if you use this word in Hindi, you would say 2 years, 2 saal. It's a huge time, right? It's a very huge time. So, it's a long time to wait. $1 million. You have not started counting the dollars. We are just talking about what? $10 million was given back to the owner. 524 coins. Now we are talking about coins which can be counted, right? So we have given this verb as were. 10 crores is a huge amount. We are talking about amount. So whenever you are mentioning time, money, distance in your sentence, please use singular form of verb. And if you are using any countable noun, then you can use plural form of verb. Alright, dear students, please make sure 10 kilometers dash a not long distance for him. So what do you think? Are, were, is, have. So this is for your practice. Please practice this question and let me know in the comment section which is the correct option that you have chosen. So coming to our next hack, which is extremely crucial for all of us to understand, and as there have been many questions based on the same hack in your previous year question papers as well. So singular verb when the group act as one unit, for example, family, right? Which includes so many members. Plural verbs when members act separately. As individuals, we will use plural form of verb, but as a group indicates as a whole, we would always use singular form. For example, the furniture, words like uncountable nouns, if we talk about word like furniture, equipments, luggage, stationery, advice, weather, always take a singular verb. You cannot form any plural form of these words, right? These are uncountables. For example, the furniture dash very old. This question has been asked in your PYQ as well. So, are, were, is, have. So, I hope by this time you are in a position to answer this question. The correct option should be is. Alright. Now, the next hack, if a singular subject is followed by a phrase containing a plural noun, please remember this thing whenever you have one in any sentence. always use singular verb. We are not talking about all, we are talking about one of them. We are talking about one of the girls, we are talking about one of the members. So all the girls are not against, right? So all the girls are not out on the ground. One of those girls is out on the ground. One of those. One of many. One of many. If I say, I have 5 fingers, one of these 5, one of these 5. This can be one, this can be one, this can be. Out of these 5, one can be any of these. One of my fingers. I have 5 fingers. One of my fingers is swollen. Right? So what do I say? One of those. So one of plural nouns, you'll always take singular forms. Alright, dear students. So please remember this thing. Now, a great deal of, a plenty of, when they refer to a noun, please use singular verb, and when they refer to countable nouns, please use plural verbs. For example, the majority of students prefer, now we are talking about students, which is a countable noun. So we have used plural form. Don't worry, there are plenty of delicious cookies. Cookies is countable noun. So we have used this. We still have plenty of time before the movie. Now this talks about time which is uncountable, right? Now, some nouns are always plural, such as police, people. Yes, whenever you're mentioning police, never ever use is. Always incorrect. So always use are. The police are coming, if I say. The police are coming. Alright, trousers, glasses, goods, tongs, words like the rich, the blind and the guilty. Yes, whenever you refer to certain category, whenever you refer to a certain category, if you write glasses, if you write trousers, what you are going to use? You are going to use plural verb, right? But at the same time, please make sure, if I say words like scissors, glasses, socks, will always take plural form of verb. But if I say a pair of scissors, if I say a pair of socks, if I say a pair of shoes, all these will always take singular verb. Alright, dear students, if I say these shoes, I would say are nice. At the same time, if I say a pair of shoes, so what we are supposed to use, keeping in mind the subject, so we would say has, not have, right? So please use your verbs and your brain accordingly as per the tense. Talking about a class of people, if I say the rich, the poor, or the efficient, always use plural verb, right? Always a plural verb. For example, if I say right? So please remember all these things, that with a class of people you are supposed to use this plural form of verb. Now coming to the next hack number 13, certain nouns though plural in form, right, always have a singular verb. For example, words like measles, words like mathematics as given in example as well, words like physics, words like the Arabian Nights, which is a name of a book, so these seem plural, but they'll always take a singular form, right? Mathematics as being a subject, right? It's a subject. Now coming to the next rule, when the word is preceded by a, that takes a plural verb, and when it is preceded by the, a very minute, a very thin line of distinction between the two words. So if you see a number of, always used a plural verb. If you see the number of, always use a singular verb. Alright, dear students. Now the next, adjectives used as nouns are considered plural. For example, the poor are to be helped, the efficient are what this country needs. I have already told you poor, efficient, rich, all adjectives when they refer to a class, right? Or whenever you are using them as adjectives, so please use plural forms of verb. Now, hack number 16, name of organization always take a singular form. For example, Lopez and Sons is, although the names are plural, if you just think about it, like Lopez and Sons as different entities, but no, together they act as one organization, one entity, right? So always use singular, but as a person, as an individuals, Lopez and Sons, which clearly give a sign, which clearly gives a sign that these are plural, and so we would be using our verbs. So we would be using plural form of verb. Now, if a sentence begins with expletive it, please mark this thing as very, very important. Whenever your sentence begin with this, it is the schools which must assume their responsibility. So you would always use a singular form of verb, be it any subject, be it any noun that comes after it. But if you have this it in the beginning of a sentence, always use singular form of verb. It is the schools, it is the people, it is the teachers, it is the principals, whatever. So dear students, coming back to hack number 18, which is very, very important, let's read what it says. Whenever these pronouns act as a subject of the verb and that also lies in the middle of the sentence, verb has to agree with noun or pronoun coming immediately before who, which, or that. Very, very simple to understand. Just take the help of this example. Albert is the scientist who loves to read books. So we have used the singular verb here, keeping in mind the subject which is placed before the word who. So what do you need to take care of? Who, that, which. If you find any of these words in the middle of a sentence, please use your verb according to the subject which is nearest to any of these words. For example, he is one of the men who do the work. This is another example. Who do the work? Why we have used this particular form, which is plural verb, according to this one, according to this plural subject, which has been placed before who. For example, if we talk about, now I have already told you this thing, if you have who, if you have that, if you have which, if you have singular subject, if you have plural subject, right? Or if you have singular subject or plural subject in any of these cases. So you are supposed to use your verb according to this only. Singular verb, plural verb, right? Accordingly. If the subject is singular, you would be using singular verb. If the subject is plural, you would be using plural verb. Alright, for example, what we are supposed to use here? He is one of the men. Our focus is to put our verb according to what? According to the subject which lies nearest to this word. For example, this. Who do not lie. Alright, dear students, he is one of those students. If I say, or she is one of the girls Alright, now we are talking about she is one of the girls. That she is one of those girls who are very intelligent. So this are has been placed according to this plural subject. She is one of those girls who are very intelligent. All right. Now, let's see another hack. The words containing parts of a fraction or a percent. For example, if we talk about 1/4 of a cake or half of a cake, these will take singular forms of verb. But at the same time, if I say half of the cakes, there are some cakes, maybe 2 or 3 or 4, half of those cakes individually, but those half parts will also make a plural sense only. So in that case, you are supposed to use plural verb accordingly. Alright, half of the cake is and half of the cakes are. Alright, dear students, now let's proceed towards question. Now we are going to practice these, which are very, very important. Let's see, each of the players, we have each. So have, were, was, are, which is the correct option. If you have each, and I have already told you this thing that each and every will always take singular forms of verb. Have is incorrect, were is incorrect. Now we have these two options, was or are. Each of the players, was or are. Which one is correct? Just tell me. So the most appropriate answer to our question is was. Right? This is correct. So I think I should erase this as to avoid any confusion further. Alright. Now, 10,000 rupees dash a big amount. I already told you this thing. Whenever we are referring to an amount, always use singular verb. Now we have these many options. Are, no. Were, no. We are left with these two. This is also plural. Now this is only singular. Is a big amount. Now, talking about the third question, the police dash investigating the matter. It denotes a continuous form. Now you have four options on screen. Is, was, are, has. Alright. Now I have already told you some nouns. Plural subject. Alright. Police is plural. We do not say the police is coming. We say the police. And then you have to use the verb accordingly. I have already given you a signal word here. So the police is incorrect. The police was incorrect. The police are or the police has. All these three options denote singular forms of verb, but we are supposed to use a plural one here. Are investigating the matter. Next question, the committee dash taken a final decision. Committee as a collective noun. Right? For example, if I talk about family, right? If I talk about committee, if I talking about herd, if I talking about swarm of bees, if I talking about crowd of people, all these take singular verbs because these have been used as a collective entity. Now the committee dash taken a final decision. This is plural, this cannot be used. This is plural, this cannot be used. Are or has, this is also plural. So the only option that we are left with is has taken a final decision. Now has taken a final decision. I hope it's quite understood now. Let's proceed towards the next question, which is typically based on the latest board pattern. So select the option that identifies the error and supplies the correction for the following line. She has been come late to school since Tuesday. So we got a signal word here, since, which is used either in case of perfect forms or present perfect or past perfect continuous forms. Right? PPC, I'm writing here. Now, she has been come late to school since evening. And since you have already been made aware that we have used has been here, and with has been, we always use ing form. Right? So, which is the correct option here? She has been come late to the school since Tuesday. So, come, coming, since, for, been, being, since, from. We cannot use from, we can use for, because for is used for duration, or you can say a period of time, whereas since is used for a point of time. Right? So the correct option would be she has been coming late to school since Tuesday. It's a particular day, so there is no duration at all. Right? Coming to the next question, let's discuss Select the option that identifies the error and the error that supplies the correction for the given line of survey. Everyone are expected whole. So without even reading the whole sentence, what do we come to know? Everyone with words like, what rule you have to apply here? Body, one, thing. I always told you that you are supposed to use only singular form of verb. That you are only supposed to use singular forms of verb with everything, everybody, no one, nobody, anyone, anything, everyone, everything, right? So everyone, this is the mistake. So without any doubt, we are supposed to mark this. You cannot write your, you cannot write feedbacks, you cannot write in place of the. So the only option that is correct here is. Now the next question on screen, let's see this as well. My current employer and co-workers, thus because it includes inclusion, it is talking about employer and co-workers, feels that I am an asset to the team. So how can you use a singular verb here which is incorrect? This is singular verb. So we are supposed to use a plural verb which is feel. Right? Feels is incorrect here. Now, the next question on screen, very, very important. Identify the error and provide the correction in the following sentence. This question was even asked in 2024 as well. Now, the book provides a lot of information about various historical events. I have already told you this thing that some nouns do not have plural forms. For example, equipment. You have measles, you have luggage, right? You have advice. Error, what is the error here? The book provides a lot of information. This is incorrect. So what we are supposed to write? Information is incorrect and information is correct. We say a lot of information, much information, all right, but we never say informations, right? It does not have a plural form. Now the next question, choose the correct form of the verb that agrees with the subject. For example, Anne, he and her brothers, we have and, which includes inclusion, right? So is or are. Either my brother or my father, you have either or, and you have two subjects in a sentence. This is also singular and this is also singular. We are supposed to use is. It indicates a choice, either my father or my mother, right? The dog or the cats. Now, it also indicates a choice, but the subject which is nearest to the verb is plural, so we are supposed to use are here. So the correct option would be are. Either my shoes or your coat. Now, this is plural and this is singular. So we are supposed to use this according to the nearest subject, right? George and Tamara doesn't or don't want to see that movie. Now it indicates inclusion, so we would be using don't. Benito dash doesn't don't know the answer. Benito being a singular noun would have doesn't. All right. Then you have one of my sisters. What did I tell you? When you have one of with any plural noun, you are always supposed to use is, singular form of verb. One of my sisters is going on a trip to France. So you have so many sisters, right? Suppose you have 5 sisters and out of 5 sisters, only one is going to France, right? So we are indicating that. Next question, choose the correct form of the verb that agrees with the subject. Now, since we have just, practiced so many questions based on the same, now you are supposed to do this question in your homework and let me know out of it how many marks you could fetch, right? Please post in the comment section and I'll definitely reply to your comments, and please let me know how many marks you got out of these many 8 marks. Yesterday, I watched a movie. Right now, I am teaching you. Tomorrow, I'll check your answers. So, dear students, do you notice any change in verbs here? Let me tell you that this change is called tense. Alright, dear students, so please keep a pen and a paper in hand to jot down each and every important hack that we would be discussing to ace your tense related questions in your boards. So here we go. Now, I'm not going to throw the definition on you as you have been learning the same right from your childhood, right? So here we are going to focus on 3 basically more important tenses as per the PYQs and latest board trend. So questions have been asked from simple present tense, perfect tenses, and perfect continuous tense also. Now you have already been presented the whole chart in which you can easily see the structures. As in case of simple present, we use singular form of verb with s or es. In case of simple past, we use verb second form. In case of future, we use will or shall, right, depending upon the usage. Then in continuous form, something which is going on at the right time or which was going on. Either we use is, am, are with ing forms. In continuous, we use ing forms, right? Then in perfect, we always use third form of the verb, and in perfect continuous tense, which is a blend of these two, right? So we use has or have or had depending upon the tense along with ing forms plus since or for that I'll be discussing the usage of. So dear students, one more important thing that I would like to discuss here is signal words, which are extremely important. And locating these signal words in your exam, in your questions will definitely give you the desired outcome. Alright, let's suppose first of all you come across any sentence in which you have the words like always, usually, every day. So please be aware that you have to use simple present tense forms there. Alright dear students, for example, if I say he goes to temple every day, she goes to temple every day, I go to school every day, he usually comes late, right? Then we have present continuous in which what is going on now? I am teaching you right now. You are listening to me. I am teaching you. I am explaining you these tenses, these rules as well, right? Then we have perfect form in which we use already. What has already gone? She has already completed her work. He has completed. He has already gone to the market, right? Simple past, yesterday, last year, right? The sentence in which you find yesterday, please be aware that you are supposed to use past form there. Past perfect, before, by the time. If you come across a sentence in which you have after or before, so please make use of past perfect there. Past perfect continuous, for or since. These two prepositions play a very important role in your perfect forms and your perfect continuous forms. Future continuous, this time tomorrow, what is going to happen by this time tomorrow? What will be happening? Let's suppose being a school student, you also sitting in your physics lesson and simultaneously your brain constantly goes to your home thinking what my mother will be making by this time, right? So future perfect, then you have future perfect continuous, a blend of perfect and continuous. So now you have the question on screen. Complete the given sentence about the reaction of some students by selecting the correct option. Since morning, the group of students excited about the forthcoming cultural fest. So first of all, you already got a signal word here, which tells us whether we are supposed to use a perfect form or a perfect continuous form, just because we are already talking about this forthcoming, something which is going to happen, upcoming event. So which is the most appropriate option? Are, no. First of all, we are talking about group as a whole, group on the whole, right? Taking it as a single entity. So we are supposed to use, this is also incorrect. Now we are left with these two options, either has been or was. Since we are talking about forthcoming and we have since in the sentence, so it's clear that we would be using has been. So the correct option would be has been. Alright. So this question was also there in your SQPs as well. So please make sure that you practice all sorts of questions like these. Complete the given sentence by filling the blank against the correct option. After she dashed her homework, Anaisha finally relaxed and watched a movie with her friends. Now you got this word after, as we have already seen the table in which we had signal words. If you have these words like after or before, or if you come across any sentence that is a combination of two tense, for example, the patient had died before the doctor arrived. You see the combination of two tenses there. The first one is the patient had died. This is past perfect. And this is simple past. Right? Another sentence. Let's see. right? The train had left before we reached the station. Again, the same thing. Simple past, and we have past perfect sentence. All right. Past perfect. So we see the combination of two tenses in the same one, and we have the words like before or after when in a sentence one action takes place before the other one or after the other one. In that case, what we are supposed to use? After she finished her homework, Anisha finally relaxed. So in these sentences like this, when you are supposed to fill the blank, you already know this thing that relax, this past form has already been used here. Simple past. So what we are supposed to use? Finished, had finished, have finished, or will finish? Had finished. After she had finished her homework, Anisha finally relaxed and watched a movie with her friends. So we already got to know these two signal words from which it was easier for us to answer this question appropriately. Now the next question on screen, identify the error and supply the correction as well. It is on the latest board pattern, right? When she returned to her flat, simple past, she saw at once that the burglars broke in her absence. So what do you think is the most appropriate option? This is already in simple past and there are two actions which are going on one after the other. So the burglars had broken, right? So broke is incorrect and had broken in her absence is the correct option. Now the next question, electricity is expressed by amount of charge flowing through a particular area in the unit time. Got it? So what is it is supposed to be? Electricity is it's based on a fact. Electricity is expressed by the amount of charge flowing through a particular area in unit time. So this is not going to change. So instead of writing express, it should be expressed. All right, dear students. Then you have the next question on screen, the board. Singular subject, invite online applications from eligible candidates for the post of a senior English teacher. So what do you think is the mistake here? What is the error here? So the board invite, board being a singular subject, will have a singular form of verb. So it should have either S or ES. So with invite, we are supposed to use, instead of invite, we are supposed to use invites. The board invites the applications. All right, dear students. Now you have been given some other types of questions. Let's please pay attention. My mother dash up early every morning. We already got a signal word here. Get up early every morning. Get, gets, will be, shall be. So it's gets. The children dash in the fields now. We already got a signal word here. This is our signal word. Right? SW stands for signal word. Has played, are playing. So this should be are playing. Not plays, not will, had played, because it is used for habitual action. And please be aware that while talking about simple present tense, it talks about universal truth, habitual action, all right, or some statement that has been proved true for a longer period of time. Dash raining since morning. We already got to know about this signal word for or since. Since indicates point of time, right? Whereas for indicates period of time. For example, when we say 2 hours, 3 hours, 40 minutes, so we are not sure which are those 40 minutes out of those, right? The train dashed before he reached the station. Now again, this is a combination of two tense and I already told you this thing. The train dashed before, we already have before, he reached, simple past is already there. So what we are supposed to use in sentences like this, because without giving any single thought, please use past perfect. The train had already left before he reached the station. So we have also covered an example that was similar to this one in the previous slide as well. Now the next question, by this time we reached the cinema hall, the movie dash. So by this time, somebody is assuming the movie by the time, and what did I tell you while just explaining the signal words? Which chart, which table has this by the time? Just please see. By tomorrow, by this time tomorrow, tomorrow next week, for since, by this time, past perfect. So the movie had started, right? She dash live in this house since 2010, right? I already gave you a similar example. We have been married since 2020. We have been married since 1994, right? If I say we have been married, (1997). All right. So she live in this house since 2020. So she has been living in this house since 2010. Right? Now the next question. Identify the tense. We spoke to the officer concerned. You have to identify the tense. Sometimes board can ask you these type of questions based on this. Simple past, past perfect, simple future, past continuous as well. We spoke, which indicates it's a second form, simple past. He usually is going to school by bus. What is the correction here? So let me tell you one important fact, dear students. Board asks you questions either in the form of gap filling or spotting the error and supplying the correction. It can also ask you in transformation as well, in the form of transformation. Suppose you have been given an example, a sentence in simple past tense, and you would be supplied with 4 options along with the question, and you would be asked to change the form. For example, changing this particular sentence, I visited Taj Mahal, into past perfect. And now you would be given 4 options and you would be asked to choose the right one. This way. This is the transformation basis, right? He usually is going to school by bus. So just because we got the signal word here, which is usually, so definitely we are supposed to use simple present here. So the correct tense should be, he usually goes to school by bus. All right, dear students, let's proceed towards the next question. By the time we reach the hall, the show started. So what is the correction here? The show started, it cannot be. So instead of started, it should be had started. Very simple. The sentence which has by the time, signal word, right? So in tenses, signal word decide the tense that has to be used in a sentence and not your guess. Please remember this thing. So what is the most important thing to be understood while attempting questions related to tenses? Signal words and signal words, right? If he will work hard, he will pass the exam. This is based on conditional. If he will work hard, he will pass the exam. So if he works hard, correction would be works hard. Simple role, simple present and simple future. All right, next question. The train has arrived before we reach the station. What is the mistake? When there are two simultaneous actions in a single sentence, and you can clearly guess this thing, the train has arrived before we reach the station, this is already in simple past. So the tense that has to be used here should be had arrived, not has arrived. All right. So this is the correction that you need to take care of. Now the next question, read the passage and correct the errors. Every morning, this question was asked in previous year question paper as well, twice. And this is your question bank also. Right, corrections. Every morning, Ria is waking up early. When we have the word like every morning, which is a signal word, right, which is a signal word. So it should be, just because we use ing forms for continuous. So this is already incorrect. So what is the correct option? Every morning, Ria wakes up early and does yoga. We clearly got the indication from here as well. She has been drinking milk daily. Again, we use has been drinking, has or have, in case of perfect continuous, right? But here, as our word is daily, which makes it very clear that simple present should be used. Which tense should be used? Simple present should be there. So what is the correction that we need to make here? Is walking is incorrect. Instead of that, she has been drinking. Instead of that, drinks should be used here. Now the train has arrived before we reach the station. Already done a similar question like this. Has arrived is incorrect. Had arrived is correct. Alright, dear students, I hope all these types of questions have been understood by you. Right now, let's proceed towards the next one. When I reached home, my mother, here you don't have before or after. Please pay attention to this. When I reached home, my mother cooks food. No, it also talks about habitual action. So this is incorrect. Cooked, already a past habit. Is cooking, it is talking about present. So we cannot choose this one. Was cooking. When I reached home, जब मैं घर पहुंचा, what she was doing? She was cooking food. Why we have used was cooking? Just because it has when. It does not have before or after. Alright, dear students. Now the next question. By the time the police arrived, the thief had escaped. Right? This is the answer. She dash prepare for her exams these days or now or at the moment. If somebody asks you, what are you doing these days? So you would say, I am preparing for my boards, right? So she dash prepare for her exams these days. She is preparing. She is preparing. I hope all these questions are clear to all of you, dear students. Now let's proceed towards one of the most favorite and the most awaited part of our class, which is recapitulation. So let's have it. We have covered SVA. We have majorly covered 20 hacks, keeping in mind certain rules that a plural subject will always take plural verb, right? Very first thing, right? If there is there or here in a sentence, verb will be placed according to the subject that follows it. Let's have a recap quickly. All right. So please pay attention. If you have uncountable nouns, always use singular form of verb. Right? If you have one plus any plural subject, always use singular verb. All right. Always use singular verb. All right. When you have these words in your sentence, always choose your verb according to the nearest subject. Right? Wherever there is and, use plural verbs because and indicates inclusion, whereas or indicates choice. All right, dear students. And how can we forget that important boat rule, where you have body, where you have one, and where you have thing. So words like if you have everybody, everyone, everybody, anything, etc. always use a singular verb. So we have covered all these hacks in our class. Then talking about tenses, with many others as well. Then we talk about tenses. We got to know about latest pattern. We got to know about the most important forms, which are 3 basically. Although all are important, but questions have been asked from these. And perfect continuous as well. Please focus on signal words, right? And dear students, please keep your focus on error spotting, gap filling, and transformation as well. I hope this class was useful for all the students out there who want to ace their exam like a pro. If you feel there is any doubt or any query, please don't feel hesitant to ask that. Please let us know in the comment section. Your queries are always welcome. And for more videos like this, please stay tuned with us on our very channel. Till then, have a wonderful evening ahead. Thank you so much.